There are about 4 people at the table. Is that correct?
I noticed the artistic overlays also. I can't even draw You can have my God bless you.
Did everyone get a handout? Just want to make sure everyone got a handout.
Oh, I just brought it up here from back there. Okay, I'm like, last night, that was the only thing, is when I went back and I'm like,
Do you have more handouts?
like that's what made it Fortunately, it didn't swell or anything. See, I'm just petrified that my blood size is going to change. Because I know of like 2 gals that had babies in July. Yeah, babies in July and both of them are like,
You ready?
Good to go.
Okay, everyone. We are ready for the next session, and it is my pleasure to introduce to you Andre Koen.
Well, I have to tell you, I thought that the Twin Cities was complicated, but my GPS had me go to another building, and then I went to that building. They said, "Oh, you're at the new building," and I said, "Well, where's the new building?" And they said, "Well, if you go down to this corner and make a left, you'll see a." And then when you get to that, you'll make another right, and you'll see a. And I was just like, help. So I appreciate your patience and your kindness for taking that break and extending that. And I will. Hopefully, your sessions this morning have been beneficial. That they've been thought-provoking, and I hope to continue in that same vein. All right. A little bit about me. I am my father's son. So in 1968, my father graduated from high school. And what was going on in the world in 1968? Drugs, okay. Peace, love. Okay, the summer of '69 was coming up. All right. I didn't tell you. I'm African American. So, yeah. So my parents were also African American, and so one event could have had a profound impact on my African American parents in 1968. The Civil Rights Movement, the death and the murder of Dr. Martin Luther King. And so one of the things that my father said is he said, I'm 18 now. I want to do something about the murder of Dr. Martin Luther King. And my grandparents said, great, do it someplace else. So my dad went off to college and he became a Black Panther. Now, I don't know what you know about Black Panthers or what you think you know about Black Panthers, but primarily they were a political party. And their aim was to raise black people specifically out of poverty. But they're mostly noted because they had a very scary look about themselves, and black jackets and afros, and black people, angry black people with guns would even scare me. All right. So my father became a Black Panther, and then in 1970, the most beautiful, amazing thing that could ever happen to my father happened. I was born! Right? And so my father realizes that the revolution is no place for a family, there's no health care in the revolution, and the retirement plan for revolutionaries sucks. Right? So he decides to leave the revolution, and then he gets a call from God. Now what happens when one gets a call from God? You answer, right? I was in one training and the guy said, "You run." I'm like, where? You know? So my father just called to be an evangelical, fire and brimstone, Bible-thumping preacher. Hallelujah, yeah! I am my father's son. So in my presentation, it might seem like I'm preaching to the choir, but in the words of my father, the choir needs preaching too. It also might seem like I'm getting a little bit political. I'm my father's son, all right? So in this presentation, I'm going to offer you a lot of stuff, and I do not want you to accept the stuff that I've given you until you've given it thought, all right? So the one thing that I want you to walk out of this session with is the ability to critically analyze other people as well as to critically analyze yourself. All right? So we're going to move on. So with that thing, anybody heard of T-Pain? Anybody know who T-Pain is? All right. Okay. She's like, yeah, I know T-Pain. Right? So T-Pain does this thing where he has an automated computer voice. And the funny thing is there's nothing new under the sun because he's only doing what Roger and Zapp used to do. More bounce to the air. Okay, all right. I've dated myself. So, or Alvin and the Chipmunks, you know, the same kind of thing. So I found this video on YouTube, and I was like, that sounds just like T-Pain's thing. And so what came to me is that computer voice thing that he does in his songs can be used for evil or for good. So I'm going to show this video. I want to have some conversations about it, and then we'll move into the meat of our presentation. All right? So here we go.
Let us rise up tonight with a greater readiness. Let us stand
Is that too
with a
loud?
greater determination. Let us move on in these powerful days.
Is that better?
These days of challenge to make America 20 we got some difficulties ahead, but it doesn't matter what we do, because I've been to Mexico, and I've looked over, I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight, I've seen the people who get to the promised land. I've seen the glory of 1960, students all over the South started sitting in front towns. I knew that as they were sitting in, they were really standing up for the best in the American dream. Taking the whole nation back to those great realms of democracy, which were guaranteed by the founding fathers. In the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, we got some difficulties ahead, but it doesn't matter what we do, because I've been to mountain top, and I've looked over.